Talking to myself again, but it's the only way.
Good morning, welcome to NUFC Matters. I hope you can hear us. We're all together.
Yeah.
The three amigos, and we've got Stu in as well because he's obviously made it across as well. So 1 hour today, we're going to go through all the usual stuff that you enjoy seeing. So it'll be a little bit jam-packed, but great to have the lads alongside us and finishing off the live shows for this year with a bang. So great to see you. I'll come to you first, Mitch. What's it like to be back home?
Cold. Bit on the fresh side. I think it's fair to say, no, it's great to be home. Great to get the feel of the place again. Hopefully we'll all get into St James's Park after the Man U game as well.
Yeah.
And it's fantastic to be back and very, very good to be with my best mates.
Yeah, Stu, you're back as well. So you've been back in the country. How long? A couple of days
since Friday.
And what's the first thing you did when you got back?
I got a Greg's sausage roll, believe it or not.
Just had another one as well.
Just had one, aye. Well, that's because you said we were meeting at 10:30. I thought we were going to the pub. No, it was Greg's sausage roll, and then seeing the family, and then seeing friends the next day, then match on Sunday. It was an amazing feeling getting back into St James's Park after over 2 years. Irrespective of the result, it was just amazing just to be in there.
Yeah, I'm going to have to keep leaning forward here because obviously we haven't got cameras and stuff like that. We're literally doing this off a laptop in the office before we go for a bit of a Christmas soiree. Steve, good to have the lads alongside us though, isn't it?
Yeah, and thanks for inviting me to the broom cupboard, Steve.
Yeah, it is a bit like a broom cupboard, but it's a bit of history on the walls, lads, as well. Some of the happier times.
Yeah, exactly. No, great to be all together. I mean, it's been a long year actually when you think about it. I know some people think it's gone over very, very quickly. For me, it's been a really, really long year. Talking continuously about takeovers, and now we're talking about transfers.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that will be what we'll move on to in January, of course. John's asking us a question. He goes, has the last year been the most significant in the club's history? The future could hardly be brighter, and relegation only stalls things for a year, or am I deluded? Good question, John. Mitch, we'll come to you, mate. Has it been the most significant?
Good question, because I'm actually genuinely just about to write something for the Arab News for Ali Khaled about the year in Newcastle United, and that'll go out across the Saudi and the Gulf region in the Arab News. And it's a question I was posed by him, is this the most significant year in the club's history? It's certainly one of them. It's certainly a significant waypoint in the development of the club. And it has the potential to be, the most significant year in the club's history. Even if we face relegation, I think he's right, it just stalls things. I can't see the Saudis just accepting it. And relegation actually brings some interesting financial possibilities, potentially, which is rather ironic. But I prefer to think positively about that and to say that we're in a position in January to get ourselves out of any trouble. And I think the January fixtures are very significant along with the transfer window. So, I mean, 2021 could be one of the most significant years in the club's entire history,
You're not selling much ice cream going at that speed?
No.
Hey!
Well, it is Christmas. Eric Morecambe with the classic
crackers around.
I mean, is it the most significant year, Steve? We've had a roller coaster ride ourselves covering it, just as Newcastle fans. But do you think this is the most significant year?
I think it's probably the most significant 3 months of a year that we've had. I mean, the first 9 months of this year, it just seemed to be trauma after trauma. It just seemed to be problem after problem. Angst after angst, screaming at shops was still an occurrence. We didn't know what was going on. But obviously the last 3 months since the takeover was announced in October, it's been completely revolutionary in terms of the mindset and the change that we've had, the sea change in people's mentality towards Newcastle United, positively on Tyneside and negatively around the rest of the country, I must add.
Yeah.
But it will undoubtedly go down in history. In history, history is still to be written about Newcastle United from this phase. And I think when when we get to the end of this season, and we'll probably, rather than look at the year, we'll look at the season 2021/2022 and then decide whether it's been significant. I still think that, you know, the Keegan time, when Kevin came back and then he saved us, I think that was probably the most significant season that I can recall, followed by especially what came afterwards when the success hit so quick and so early, where we took the Premier League by storm. But no, I mean, it will go down in history, but let's just stay calm and see what Neil writes.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, it's been a hell of a year, Stu, hasn't it? Now, obviously, you and Neil, you know, different parts of the world, but you know, it's still a huge event as far as, you know, Newcastle fans are concerned. I think it's taken us a bit of time just to get used to it, hasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, we talk about on the Retro Show about the games from the past, but I honestly think our best days are ahead of us. And strangely, when you asked before, when I got back to my mother's, one of the first things I did was go and have a cigarette because I hadn't had any on the flight. And there's a sign in the back, in my mother's back garden. And you know, it was like a moment of clarity, like smoking a cigarette, reading it. And it sums up Newcastle perfectly. And it says, without the rain, there would be no flowers.
Yeah.
You know, and we've had torrential downpour for 14 years. So, you know, spring's coming and we're going to have a fantastic summer in the future.
Yeah, hope so. Okay, as I said, we've got to get through quite a bit today. And as always, we've got our regular segments. And I didn't want to let Julie down. I've even managed to get a troll of the week for later on. And as always, I've got to put up with this, and I've had a bad head after yesterday's festivities. But here's that music again. Mitchell's just said, now I know why you're squinting all the time, because he now sees
tiny little bloody JPEGs,
He says what I've got to do. Okay, the day I met, I've only got the one today because I can't afford to, like, you know, take up too much time with this one. We've got loads in the bag, but big thank you to Alan McKenzie for sending this one. He says, the day I met Frank Clark, a day of remembrance in the Bobby Monkhurst Suite at St James's Park. Bobby was a great friend of my great uncle Dan McKenzie, and Bobby gave a great eulogy at the celebration of his life. Alan, wonderful photograph that, mate. Great memories. And Frank Clark knew my father knew Frank Clark. Absolutely brilliant that way. And keep them coming in. If you've met anybody famous in Newcastle United, whether it's the tea lady, whether it's the groundsman, whether it's a player, a manager, whatever, send them in and we will get them on the show. Okay, because it's Christmas, I've been asking this question all week. Is Die Hard a Christmas film? Now, obviously, the poster we've got for today was based on Die Hard. Thanks to John from Jam for that. Is it a Christmas film?
Absolutely.
It is.
It's set at Christmas. It's got Christmas songs in it. It's a Christmas film.
Okay, Steve?
Yep, definitely. I'm on 100% Christmas film.
Okay, Stu?
I'll have to agree. It's set around Christmas, so it makes it a Christmas film.
Okay, but there we go. That's a unanimous decision on the panel today. I'm clearly wrong on this whole scenario, but I know there's a few people don't think it's a Christmas film in the chat. Jersey Mag says, which 5 players on each of your Christmas transfer wish lists for January? Okay, Stu, I'll come to you first on this. Which 5 players would you love to see come in?
If it was a wish list, like as in probably some would be unrealistic, some are realistic. I think Trippier looks like it's sorted, but if we couldn't get him, I'd love the young West Ham right back, Johnson.
Yeah,
I think he's got a huge future. And on the left side, I would have Tierney from Arsenal. I don't think there's a better crosser of the ball down that side in the league, and he's not playing every game. The midfield would be
sticking in your throat.
I said Arsenal. I didn't say Celtic. You know. But the midfield, I would move heaven and earth to get Calvin Phillips in. I think it's exactly what we need: some energy, someone to break up the play, and that protects the defence. We don't have that. It's like a Batty or Toyota type player, and we haven't got that. In midfield, in centre half, you could just pick anyone. But Cody, I was really impressed. I watched him against Manchester City a couple of weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
and I thought he was really, really good. And his awareness, his positional awareness, his leadership, backs to the wall, and it will be for most of the rest of the season, is entirely what we need. And if we need someone up front, which we do is cover, I don't know who we'll get. Because I'm really happy with Wilson. I just think he needs some supply. And I think with those two fullbacks, he'd get more supply. So, but we would need cover for him. But that would be 4 anyway with the 5. That's who I'd pick.
Okay, Steve?
Agree entirely with Tierney. I think that Tierney would be an absolutely fantastic buy for Newcastle United. He would fit in great. He can play in a 3, play in a 5. As you say, a fantastic cross of the ball. I think he's just being shaded out by Robertson at the moment in terms of what the Scots think of him. But he's up there. I mean, at one point he was ahead of Robertson, Liverpool, and now he's just behind simply because he's not getting a full game. Cody, for his leadership, definitely an absolute nail down for me. Saw him on Match of the Day and even talks a good game. So if he can lead the line and can talk his way through a game, because that's something that we're lacking in defence, then I certainly think that he would be a fantastic acquisition. Midfield, yeah, I agree. Calvin Phillips. There's a lot of talk about Calvin Phillips as well, isn't there? You know, there's a lot of whispering going on.
Yeah.
As you said on one of the shows earlier in the week, Steve, you're picking it up from Leeds fans, so
Yeah.
you know. So that for me says that there's no smoke without fire, and it would be a fantastic acquisition as well. Up front, you know what? Tammy Abraham's mentioned, and he's been getting goals overseas, getting goals in Italy. I think he would be a young, hungry sort of striker that would fit in well. Apart from that, you know what? It's very, very difficult to sort of just conjure up people from that you haven't really seen that much from European football, and I know that's where most people are looking at in the European market, because they're thinking that the UK market's stagnating. If I was going to look for a right back, I know it sounds silly, but I would look at Tavernier at Rangers. I think he's been absolutely remarkable since he's gone up there. So that would be another one that I would consider. And apart from that, you know, I was looking at the Sunderland team the other day, and this is where it gets difficult, isn't it? Because there wasn't a single player in their squad whose name I even knew. So digging into the lower leagues, if I don't know the name of Sunderland players, I'm going to struggle to know the names of anyone in either the Championship or the lower leagues. But I think Newcastle are really looking in a completely different direction come the transfer window. Apart from that, goalkeeper, I suppose there's a lot of chat about the goalkeeper, but I'm quite happy with the keepers that we've got. So I think I've gone for 4 out of 5 there as well.
Yeah, okay.
You've got Lingard now, haven't you?
Yeah, Tammy Abraham's getting a mention by David Gibson. I would say Tammy Abraham would be a good shout. He should have come to Newcastle earlier. But, you know, we definitely need a striker in. There's no doubt about it. We've said that since the pre-season, and we didn't get one. So, for me, a goalkeeper, I think you build from the back. A good goalkeeper, a good centre-half, a creative midfielder and a centre forward would do me. I know people are going on about full backs, but I still think if you bring those other players in, we'll be fine. Mitch, what about you? If you had a wish list, who would you like to see come in?
Trippier would be straight on it. If we can wrap that up, that'd be great.
Mm-hmm.
Cody, I agree on. He's also got a nasty streak. He could be this year's Brian Kilcline.
Yeah.
You know, he's a nasty little piece of work. We miss that at times. I think we need someone who's got that little bit of aggression in them. Digney seems to be going out of favour at Everton. I think I'd have him in at left back. I'd be quite comfortable with him. I think he could supply as well. Winks at Spurs isn't getting much of a look in, and I think about dropping him into our midfield, no bother. I think he'd sit in there and he worries at all. And Lingard, I think he would be a difference maker in terms of creativity alongside Wilson.
Anybody take Jimenez from Wolves? Chip as a suggestion.
No, I'll take Cody from Wolves instead.
Would you?
Yeah, I'm not too keen on Jimenez. I've got to be honest.
For me, he's in and out. He's one of those in and out players. I would have, if there was an ex-Wolves player that you could pick up, it would be Jota, wouldn't it? When you look at how successful he's suddenly become, and whether Jimenez is just at that level where he's going to move up to the next level, and somebody's going to get an absolute bargain. That could be the situation with him.
Dele Alli, it's another one getting thrown at us by Tom Dixon. No, not for me.
Definitely not.
Doesn't attract us as much, I must admit, but the Winks one is an interesting one because that is a whisper that we've heard on a number of occasions over the last couple of weeks. Yeah, weeks for winks, you know.
I mean,
how you say that one.
Exactly.
positive vibes, morning. Hope
White
you're all
Christmas.
right. I think as well. I mean, I don't know whether you heard. I'm sure you did. Roy Keane giving his opinion on Martial potentially going to Newcastle, and he essentially said, "Look, Newcastle are in a relegation battle. The last thing they need is somebody
Martial.
like Martial."
Yeah,
He says who simply plays when he wants to play and doesn't put the work rate and effort in. And you need grafters in a relegation battle, Mitch, don't you?
Ah, you do.
Yeah.
I'm just seeing the name Dunk appear there from Chippers. I've got to say, he's another one with a nasty streak in the centre back. He'd be another one I'd think about.
Yeah.
I do think we need this year's Kilcline, either at centre midfield or at the back.
Yeah, I'd agree. Big shout out to Keith Patterson. He's in the chat. He says, I sent me letter to Santa for Botman, Cody, Digna, Trippier, Dembele, Musa and Lingard. So that's Keith's wish list. I did receive your Christmas card, Keith. Thank you very much, mate. Very good. A lot of effort went into that.
So
lads.
did me dad. Thank you, mate.
It's on his desk, Keith. Yeah.
It is. Geordie Toombalay says Rondon from Spurs link, but I don't want any Spurs players for obvious reasons. Rodon, he said. Rodon. Sorry, yeah. Tom Kearney from Fulham. We've been linked with him so many years, Tom. I don't think.
He must be about 40 now.
He's got to be, yeah.
No, he's another one that flatters to deceive. You have one good game in 5 or 6.
Yeah, I agree, David. He's saying about Tottenham. I don't think Tottenham will ever want to do Newcastle any favours.
No.
Not with Levy in charge anyway. I think you're right. Need work on the spine because Lascelles, Willock, Longstaff are all missing one. Yeah, no, got to agree on that. Let's talk about Willock, Stu. I mean, he's come in, last season, hit the ground running. Played for a move, got one, and since then, he's really struggled this season. Is that down to the formation we've been playing? Is it just a loss of form, or I mean, what's your views on Willock?
I think there's a lot of things. The drawn out saga of his transfer probably affected him mentally as well. Was he coming? Was he not coming? Then was he training properly? He didn't have the full pre-season. But now with 3 months into the season, he should be up to speed with everything.
Yeah.
And then there's been a change of manager. He was playing from the start when he shouldn't have been playing. When he was here last season, he was being brought on as sub, and he earned his place in the team in the last few games. Now it seems like because he's got a price tag around him, maybe that's weighing heavy on him. It's all hypothetical, isn't it? You could look and say it's because he's now on this huge astronomical wage salary that the hard work's done. But I believe there is a player there. It's sometimes when you move, like Mitch and myself will tell you, you can move to different parts of the country or different parts of the world, and it takes time to settle in and make it feel like home. But when he was on the trial last year, he knew he was going back to Arsenal. So it's like he had a point to prove. Now he's proven his point. The rest's up to him. I think it's more mental rather than physical. And once he gets, I think he just needs that first goal, get the confidence. But also, what's interesting, if we remember from last season, it was publicised that him and ASM were very, very pally. Now, if one's not happy, it could have an effect on the other one. When someone's talking negatively, maybe the other one is as well. So there's plenty of things we could throw in, but it's speculation. But I think with Willock, he will come good, but I can see Lingard coming into the team and replacing him next month.
Okay. David R says the Express are reporting today that we've made a 3-year contract offer to Ramsey. Personally, as a fellow Welshman, I think he'd be superb for us. Creative and just what we need. Just need to keep him fit. Yeah, fitness has been a problem for him. Willock, Steve, it's been a tough season for him so far, but we've still got plenty of games to play. He might come good yet.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, I don't know whether this toe injury that he had was slightly worse than it was first envisaged. He came back rather quickly. If you remember, there was talk of painkilling injections and getting him back on the pitch, and then he was out again. And whether that injury was worse and whether he hasn't been training or had the opportunity to train at the right time, I'm not too sure. But there's certainly a player in there. But I think the style of player that we adopted at the start of this season, which seemed slightly different to last season, and I think when you come into a squad and you become a mainstay in that squad, I think, as Stu says, mentally it becomes a difficult ball game for you to assimilate to. I think that's when the pressure becomes sort of apparent, especially with a younger player. And I personally was pleased when he came out the firing line and they took him out. The question is, when you take a player out the fire line, who are you bringing in?
Yeah.
And I think that's been the problem that we've had. I think there's a lot of players. I know that there was a lot of euphoria and there was a lot of word went round that the players were really, really buzzing because of the change of manager and the change of training techniques and styles, etc., etc. But we haven't seen much of it in terms of performance-wise from some of those players. Their attitude when we've gone 1-0 down or 2-0 down hasn't rubbed off on them. The atmosphere that's been on the terraces hasn't rubbed off on those players, and I think Willock suffered a little bit from that. But let's just see where the next few games take us. Whether he gets kept out the firing line or whether he carries on to be a mainstay. And as I agree with Stu, the poor lad desperately needs a goal because we know he can score. If the truth be known, though, Stu, he hasn't actually even been in that position.
He was arriving late, and
he's not playing in the same way as you say, coming in late, linking onto those sort of deeper crosses that were coming in from the byline from San Maximum and catching them on the edge of the box. So if he's playing a different role, he's now having to adapt and he's learning, I suppose.
Yeah, okay. Somebody says, it's Dirty Penguin says, as Mitch is on, can you make loud car noises for no reason? Yeah, we do miss those noises when Mitch is in the room with don't we? Just about Willock, really, Mitch. What's your views on him?
Well, he looked like he was wearing roller boots in the last game. I don't know what the hell was going on with him. He kept falling over. He went to chase down for the build up to the second, and then just sort of got out of the way and ended up on his backside. I don't know what he was thinking. He looks a little lost to me.
He does.
Just looks a little lost in midfield. He looks like he doesn't understand what he should or shouldn't be doing and where he should be. He looks a very different player to the lad we had on loan, which is very frustrating because we know what he can do.
Yeah.
He seemed to have a freedom about him, didn't he? Last season?
And that freedom mistake, which creates mistakes.
That freedom's not there in his mindset, and it's not there in the sort of the passing that he's making or the runs that he's making. He seems to be being restrained a little bit held back. And as I say, whether that's an injury, I don't know. I mean, whether that toe injury's just taking that little bit of effort out of him, you know.
One goal might change it, you know what I mean? He might get a goal, he might get a winner. He might get a winner in one of these games coming up in January, and suddenly season changes. That's what happens. David Gibson will take your question. He says, if and when Rafa finally gets sacked, I don't think I would take him as manager now, but would you like to see him as a director of football or sporting director? I mean, for me, I guess it's whether he would consider that, because you know he clearly feels he's still got what it takes to be managing at the top level. So would Rafa take that, I guess? But if he would take it, would I have him? Of course it would. It's just whether his relationship would work with Eddie Howe for me. I think and I think Rafa loves the club. It's an unfinished project for him, and I think he would love to come back, but I've got a feeling he'd rather be on the touchline tucking his specs away. Stu?
Yeah, I think the same. His time was when the takeover should have happened.
Yeah.
And we've got Eddie Howe, and by all accounts, everyone's behind him. That's at the club. But I'm sure there's still links there with Rafa. Yeah. I think Rafa would be ideal. He understands the club. He understands how it should be run, and the things like the training ground, the youth academy, get everything set up. But like you said, he's got itchy feet to be on that touchline, and he wants to be playing. Sorry, not playing, but he wants to be managing. And I think he could be too overbearing for Eddie Howe. And that's the thing. He couldn't help but interfere, even with the best intentions. And then what we don't need is, we've had clashes upstairs. We don't need them on pitch side. Yeah. We need to make sure that everyone's pulling the same direction.
I think he'd want too much control.
Yeah.
I think if you would have put him into any role at Newcastle United, he would start to want to take over.
Yeah. Steve, same opinion?
Yeah, I have to agree with the lads on that one. I think Rafa's days of non-management are a long way in the future. I think even if he left Everton, I think he'd still be looking for a managerial role somewhere else, because I think that's in his DNA. Mm-hmm. His DNA is to be being seen to getting performances on the pitch out of players and results, and I don't think he's really the man for upstairs. You just look at Arsene Wenger, and people were screaming at Arsene Wenger to go upstairs at Arsenal for about 3 or 4 seasons and bring someone in. It never ever happened. As soon as he left, people were screaming for him to come back and go upstairs. You know. But look at the mess he's making with FIFA in the World Cup, and wanting to play World Cup every 2 years. You know, that's the danger, isn't it? Suddenly, all of a sudden, crazy things start to get mentioned and talked about, and it's people putting putting their own stamp on stuff, you know. And I honestly can't see Rafa being anything other than a manager, to be perfectly honest.
No, me neither. Ashley, thanks for the nice comment. Thanks to everybody posting nice comments about the show. Thoroughly enjoyed doing them. It's just nice, you know, that the way it's panned out, we're all together for the last live one this year. But don't forget, there is going to be 7 shows on next week. A lot of pre-recorded stuff, so you'll still get your fix of NUFC matters. Okay, time for Tweet of the Week.
Can you read that?
Mitch is still laughing. Mitch is still laughing, going, I still can't believe how small these things are. Yeah, it is small. Plenty great tweets went out this week. As always, not always football related. Some Newcastle related, some not. I love this one by Pat Hamilton. New little magpie, all ready for our first game today. Nothing better than seeing a Ben dressed in black and white, ready to go to its first match. Pity we didn't get a result, but I'm sure it'll get. I'm sure it'll get better as time moves on. Quite a lot of debate after our latest VAR non-decisions. And I did love this from Andy Whitlock. He says, VAR done a check and rescinded Zidane's red card as it was off the ball. Yes.
Yeah.
Sarcasm's the lowest form of wit, but we all agreed with that one, I think. This one from Looney Tune. I know it came in October, but this was the best Christmas present I ever got. Thank you, PIF. Thank you, Gadusi, and thank you, Jamie Rubin, and Merry Christmas. And I think, again, yeah, we all got that. We all got that feeling when October came and Christmas had all come at once. Elliot Slesser, give him a follow. Great snooker player from the Northeast. Starting to take over Twitter with these, Christmas jokes, Christmas cracker jokes. They're now talking about banning glitter this Christmas. It's been on the cards for years. I did like that one, Elliot. Give him a follow. He's well worth a follow and he's a great snooker player to boot. Keith Hackett was on Loaded this week. Give that a watch. Well worth a watch. Cracking interview and well done. The Loaded lads are really coming into the room with some great guests. And Keith obviously messaged Alan Shearer saying you're spot on with your views. Riley will never sort it. He needs to be fired and these referees need leadership, direction and accountability. Several referees are frankly not good enough.
I find it amazing that Keith Hackett and Mark Halsey, who I used to talk to a lot on originally Toon Talk Radio.
Yeah, when we did that years ago.
And then when we had the shows in the Middle East, he used to come on. We were that absolutely, totally frank and very, very openly critical of PJ Mall and everything that they do.
It's mental, man. It's absolutely mental.
Like an old boys club, isn't it?
It is, yeah. That's exactly what it's like. Mike Williams put, with the sudden arrogant attitude of most of their fans post-takeover, I'd presume most of the league would find it funny if they went down, to be honest. That, needless to say, got quite a reaction from Newcastle fans. And I just find it bizarre that people still find Newcastle fans arrogant. We're certainly nothing of the sort. And we're certainly
we were cheering clearing in the bloody windows, for God's sake.
Exactly, and signs coming down. Mark Watson, I did like this. He goes, I'm not proud of that much, but I can reel off my national insurance number like an animal. 9 characters hardly ever used. But when I'm asked, it just comes out of me. It must be magical to watch. I did again, give him a follow. That was quite a funny exchange that he had this week. Andy Cooper, Craig Pawson as ref against Manchester United Football Club next up. We should adopt the policy of taking out any opposing player who does not have the ball. In his eyes, that's okay. And with Peter Banks on VAR, if that's not working, just dive in their box. Honestly, it's just ludicrous. It really is. But great to see so many people have a humour. I did like this from Jade. I know she's a regular watcher. 404 followers. I feel like an error code. Give Jade a follow. Only one JG18. Give her a follow. She's quite funny, and I thought that was a belter this week. MV1973, Sunderland are 40-1 to win the Carabao Cup this season. That means if you put £10 on, you lose £10. That was just before the got beat 5-1. So again, a bit of realism there from a Sunderland fan. I did like this as well from Colin Wilson. He says, I had to check at this. I got a mug from the cupboard which I hadn't seen before. I made a coffee and it turns out that the wife got it from her 2 work colleagues. Now you cannot see it on that, so I did zoom in and here we go. 3 Amigos for life. What a good cup that is. What a good cup that is. So we might have to get John from QTech on with them. I did like this as well. Polite notice. Can the couple who forgot to pay their bill last night please get in touch? Your phone seems to cut out each time we call and you're not replying to our texts. If you need a little reminder of the situation, we're happy to share our CCTV images on here.
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah, I did a bit of humour. For the nightlife alone, Newcastle deserve Premier League status. That was from Tom Jordan, who's a Bournemouth fan, which was good. And this one, last one, one of our sponsors. Yesterday, NUFC matters. Today and tomorrow, the world, says Paul Hepplewhite. Skips and Bin now available. Advertising at Newcastle Airport, which was good to see. Stu seen it on his way in. So there we go. So that is your tweets of the week. Okay, half an hour to go. We've still got to cram in the lookalikes and, of course, Troll of the Week. We'll come back to some of your comments now, though, and see what people are saying. Something is definitely off with Willock, says Dunnell. I hope you're well, Dunnell. Play Willock at right wing, says Simon Davies. Well, yeah, you could do that, I suppose. A lot of suggestions. 100% Mags, hope you're well. He says, just dropping in to say hi, lads. Thanks for all the shows you've done this year. I'll check out the show after the Christmas. Just wanted to drop in to show my support for you all. Thanks, mate. You do feature, I think, in Lookalikes, so keep an eye out for that. I think you're on. Tom Dixon says, Mitch, have you brought your lucky dice with you?
It might actually be in my bag.
It might be in his bag.
Comes.
It might be in his bag.
Because
he's
it comes. Oh,
yeah, well, let's talk about Air France briefly, because somebody asked, I take it you're not happy with Air France.
No, I'm not happy with Air France at all.
What's Air France done?
Well,
nothing.
Left me bags in bloody Paris, twats.
Unbelievable. So Air France coming in for a bit of criticism, obviously, on Twitter from you.
Just a bit. Actually, at least they've got somebody in their media offices a little bit savvy, because I've had a couple of DMs off them this morning, and magically the bags are on their way, apparently.
Yeah, okay. Donald says Rafa likes to be on the touchline, can't see him as director of football. Michael Gilchrist says Willock did a lot as an impact sub last season, being used differently, and the weight of expectation as a £25 million player. Could be that. Do you think ASM is not performing because Bruce made him bigger than the club, and how has brought him back down to earth? What a question, Chippers. Stu?
Maybe how isn't letting him go to France when he feels like it.
Possibly.
Yeah. And he's
find Mitch's bag.
Yeah. He can bring it back with him. No, with ASM, he's a confidence player, isn't he? He's an enigma, and he needs to have his ego stroked a lot. And I believe Eddie Howe's come in and said, look, this is my team, this is how I want to play this. If you want to be in this team, this is the role that you have to play. And, you know, it sounds bad, but like with the French ego, it's like, no, I want to do it this way. I was allowed to do it this way.
Yeah.
I was here first. Why should I change for you? But to say that he doesn't try, it's not good. If you look at his games ever since he's come, he's had times like that where you just want to scream to shout, but I think it's because he's not been as effective in the final third since Eddie Howe's come in.
Yeah.
I think that's where it's been more noticed now. But there's a big game in him, and I was speaking with Mitch and Steve when we were watching the Liverpool game on WhatsApp, and you could see from after about 20 minutes he was fearing an injury, and you could tell that he just wanted to get away for Christmas with the kids, and I think he's been told he's not going anywhere. Yeah. So maybe he'll take his frustration out on Manchester United come Monday, and we'll see the best of ASM again. He's too talented not to.
Hope so. Yeah, Steve, what's your take on that?
We all know there's a player in there, don't we? You know, absolutely. I think, like a lot of wingers, ASM is one of those players that goes out and says, well, I'll play my game first and I'll play your game second. And it's like, you look at me, I'll sort it, I'll do it for you. And at the minute, he's just running at blind alleys. He's just running into brick walls. He doesn't lift his head, so he doesn't see where the next pass is coming to. He's just hoping that other players are going to anticipate what he's doing. You look at some of the goals he scored last season when they were breakaway goals. You know, like the Burnley goal, for example. Perfect example of playing the ball over the top. He gets the ball, he runs with it, and he's only got Burnley players in front of him who are backing off, and he can twist and turn, and he's there to take a shot. He's not even getting into those positions at the moment. He's picking the ball up and he's running diagonally with the ball. He's then turning back on himself and then turning again. And it's just not coming off for him, and it's not coming off for us as well. And it's interesting that you say what you said, Stu, about, you know, the change of manager and the manager trying to get a different approach from him. On maybe he's just not getting that freedom that he felt he was entitled to under Steve Bruce, and he just went out and played his own game then. And as you say now, he's being reined, he's being told he should be doing this, but he's not actually producing it.
Tell you what he's not getting though, he's not getting support of the players.
Well, that's the other thing.
And
Yes.
if you've got the ball in his position, he needs options to to at least make the defender think, is he going that way, is he going to pass it? But you watch him more and more often now, he gets the ball and he's isolated. There's a 20-yard circle around him and there's no Newcastle player in it. So he has to then go down these blind alleys or try and beat 2 or 3 people. And he can't do it every time. As talented as he is, he can't do it every time. So if he's supporting, but again, you can see if you're a midfield player, think, right, I'm going to make this 50-yard run to support him, knowing I'm not going to get the ball, you're going to stop making these runs after a while as well, So that's why I think the defenders are sussing him out, because just stand close to him. He's just going to drift right the way across the pitch. And as soon as he's out of your zone, he's in someone else's zone. That's how defenders think. And if he's not getting support, there's no 1-2s he can play. There's no fear to go that way and take it that way. It's him versus one and a double up on him.
Yeah.
So if he's not getting support, then it's easy to sit and criticise him, but you have to look at the reasons why as well.
Yeah, offensively, that's exactly it, isn't it? I mean, the very fact is that managers will suss them out. Coaches, other opposition coaches will suss them out. They know exactly how they want their team to play against them. And so they can double up in certain areas, but also when they're attacking, they know that our fullback is going to be exposed because there's nobody in front, to protect them. So there's a combination of little things that are just not clicking for us at the moment, And when you're on the back foot as a defensive team, that outlet ball tends to be the wrong ball that's being played to him. The outlet ball that he's providing isn't necessarily in a position where he can be effective as well. So it's all those little dobbers that have now got to fall into place, and this is where the continual coaching, I suppose, of Eddie Howe's going to come into it. And this is one of the things I was getting at Twitter the other day, where I said that I didn't think I'd seen much change in Eddie Howe in terms of the formations he was putting out. It wasn't a criticism of Eddie Howe, it was a criticism more of the players, because what I was trying to get at was the fact that Eddie Howe's season starts in January, when he gets the opportunity with new signings coming in to shape his own team. He's had an opportunity to shape what he's been left with, and I think he went in then with on the understanding that those 8 games were going to be important from him, but more important for the players that he had, because that's going to dictate who stays and who goes. And I think Eddie Howe's season starts on the 1st of January when the transfer window opens, and this is where he's expecting his big game players to step up and realise that if they want to be part of it. And it's going to be very interesting. We've only mentioned 3 or 4 players that we could think of that might be an asset coming in January, but I think Eddie Howe's probably got a list of about 8 or 10, if not more.
Definitely, Mitch. I mean, just the SM, I guess, he needs to have a better second half of the season, really. But he's, it does appear to me that at times he's chucked it, or he's spat his dummy out the pram, and maybe it is just down to the fact that he had a cushy little number under.
You can tell when he's had enough, when he develops that funny little limp.
Yeah.
And once he has that funny little limp, he's had enough.
Like he's got a pebble in his shoe.
He's carried his own leg off.
Doing this.
And that's frustrating. And that's what he is at the minute. I love finding room for somebody who can do that, something special in the team. But I don't think we're in a position where we can afford that luxury too. And we've talked about it quite a few times on various shows about end product. Where's the end product? Where does the end product come from? And he's not picking the right end ball. He's not picking the right pass. And sometimes when you think he's going to take a shot, he then wants to beat the man again. He does that little jink and goes back outside, inside again. And sometimes then the opportunity to take that shot's gone. And now whether that's a confidence thing, which it often is with players, but I think a decision's got to be made on, can we afford to carry it, or does he have to be benched for a little while to prove that he needs to be back in the team?
What's interesting you saying there, Mitch, is like it's not just that, it's the impact that those little signals that he personally gives out to the rest of his team. Now, if you're injured, normally it's a teammate who's telling the manager, you need to get him off, he's injured. It's very rare that you get a player saying, take me off. Because normally the fight's still in the player. Most players want to stay on, they want to stay on and they want to do something for the team. But with ASM, it's like, get us off, will you? Just get us off. And the rest of the squad are looking at him. certainly in that Liverpool game, they're looking and going, what the hell's wrong with him?
Yeah.
Where did the tackle come from? When did he pull up? What's happening? And that must frustrate the rest of his teammates as well when you see something like that, especially in a game where at the time you're 2-1 and you're thinking that there's an opportunity to get back into this game, you know, because Liverpool weren't pulling up trees. They were in control, but the game could have very, very quickly turned with some of the opportunities that were had, you know, some of the half chances that were there, especially with some of the dodgy refereeing decisions as well, you know, which we've already discussed. But it's how a player like him can poison a squad or can cause disharmony among a squad. And this is where good management comes in, and this is where a manager knows when to take a player out, when to bring him back in, and also what conversations he has with that player during the week. This is what good coaching is about, and this is what good squads are all about, because they're all together and they're all in it. As I say, if it was the likes of Wilson, or if it was Lascelles who was signalling to the bench that the player's injured, gone over to him, had a quick word, but it wasn't. It was a 5-minute spell of get me off. I mean, if he got any closer to the touchline, he would have been sitting in with the Liverpool fans at one point, because I think there was a spare seat there and he was wanting to take it. You know?
Yeah. Okay. Question from Jersey Mag. He says, would the three Amigos list Paul Dummett in the squad when spaces are needed for incoming players given his injury record? I mean, this Dummett situation, Stu's gone on and on and on. I mean, you know, I don't think any of us realised he would be out, you know, for the first half of the season. It didn't seem a major injury, but clearly something's not right. Is it worth keeping him in the squad if this is going to persist?
It depends on the timeline. You know, if he's getting back to full training now, and that means he could be match fit by January, then yes, I think he's been a big miss to the defence. But again, you have to look at what signings have been made. Have they already decided that the left back needs to be filled, especially with Lewis getting injured as well? And you think, right, so now what we need is, if me, Dummett, I think he's never had a bad game at Newcastle. He's always been consistent. And if he was fit, I'd have him in the team now. But again, it'll depend on who we bring in early January. And if we're bringing a top quality left back, then there's no point in it. We've already got covered there and cover anyway. There's no point in using a squad number when we could use that for a new signing.
Yeah. What about you, Steve? Paul Dummett?
I like Dummett. I think he's good. Yeah, I think that he always puts 100% in. I think Dummett's better on the left side of a 3, and that's when he becomes kind of a utility man, you know. An old saying, there used to be many utility players over the years, and then the last one I can remember was Steve Watson, and probably impacted on his career, for his England career, because he played in that many different positions for Newcastle. But for me, Dummett is I would have him in the squad. I think there are other gaps within the defensive cover, and other gaps or other holes that will be created, not just from losing a Paul Dummett, but from other players, for fresh blood coming in. Yeah. And exactly the same in the midfield. And for me, a fit Paul Dummett would be an asset to Newcastle in the next half of the season.
Mitch, same question to you. Paul Dummett, I mean, he's back in training, which is great.
The problem's keeping him fit. He has this history of repeat injuries. This is one of the things where I have an issue with how clubs report injuries on players compared to, say, the NFL. The NFL, under their media agreements, are obligated to say what the injury is in much more detail. So, for example, if somebody had come out early on when he got that calf injury and said, look, this is a grade 3 calf strain, then I could tell you straight away, right, that's 16 weeks minimum. So, don't get your expectations up to seeing him play anytime soon. Whereas we just get, he's got a calf problem. Yeah. And you never really know what it is. You never really know what it is. And again, it raises questions about how certain injuries are handled within our club. We seem to get an abnormal amount of muscular injuries, particularly hamstrings and calves, and I don't know why. But it's at the point now where it's, I think, statistically significant. I think if you sat and did an analysis of it, you'd get a surprise. But when he's fit, like Stu said, he's a 7 out of 10 man every game.
Yeah,
he's rarely a 9 out of 10, but he's rarely a 6. And so you need that in the squad that we've got at the minute. You need a little bit of that.
He's got the fire in his back.
He has, and he cares about the club, and I think that comes across. So I think, I think I'd make room for him, but it does, a lot hangs on who's coming in the January window.
Yeah, it does. Chucks, I don't know whether they'll play a full strength team.
Hi, Chucks.
I'm not 100% sure whether they will or not because it's the FA Cup, it's against lower league opposition, and obviously the main priority this season is staying up. So one would imagine it'll be, a few of the fringe players will get a chance to play. Okay, time to move on to another one of our sections. Only got about 15 minutes left of the show before we go out for a Christmas soiree. So it's time for Two Look Alike. What when that music
comes on.
Okay, Two Look Alike now, but I cannot be held responsible for some of these, so please do not complain. Please do not have a pop. Some of these are rather near the knuckle, I would have said this week, but pleased to say that really there's been a lack of ones aimed at Mr. Hasty. Although there is a couple, there is a couple. This one from Tom Dixon, Jasper Carrot and Mike Dean.
Very good.
Very good, yeah. Mike,
similar levels of comedy.
Mike Dean gets it in the neck here as well. He says, from Murphy, he says, it's all about me, Mike Dean and Ian Brady. Imagine Dean with hair. Also, they both got that haunting stare. As I said, that's Murphy, Pierre Murphy, who came up with that one and sent that in. That's got nothing to do with me. I take no responsibility for that. Ian Hull says, Two lookalike, Brian Killer Kilplain and James Cosmo from Braveheart.
Yeah, definitely.
Fantastic, that one, Ian. That gets a vote of approval from everybody in the office today. Michael Swinburne sent us this on Instagram saying Bielsa and his interpreter getting ready for the match. Jack Duckworth, of course, of Coronation Street. I got sent this one as well. This is Bielsa working as working on some kind of store. Looks like a garage forecourt.
Garage. He's on the old beep, isn't he? Yeah.
It looks very like him. Moonlighting. Looks a lot happier there than he does at Leeds at the minute. This one from Lee's Jasper. Tony DeRigo and Martin Keown, sorry, and some chimp which looks like he's seen better days. To be honest, although he is rather smartly dressed, but I could see the similarity there. I'm sure we've had this 100%, Mags. My first Two Lookalike in a while. Steve Hasty and the late Liz Smith from the Royal Family. Merry Christmas, lads.
No, I've never had it before, and thanks very much anyway.
Okay, I'll get rid of that one. Next one up is this one. Albert Mooney says, say no more. The Mitchell brothers and Keith Patterson and Stu Penman. Stu, and ironically, in between, you couldn't have made this up, but the guys in between there, Andy Wilcox and Chris Little, who both used to play for my football team. Aye, unbelievable. So there you are, Stu. What did you think of that one?
I thought it was a very good picture.
Yeah, I thought it was good. It was good. Good comparison. I think we can all agree with that one. This one, again, that's the Bielsa one, but I think this was from Tom, and he put in a second one, which was Eddie Howe and the bloke from Westlife, which I'm sure we've had before, but it is the gaffer, so we will put it up. Pete loved this one. Sat watching the new Witcher season, and up pops actor Terence Maynard for 4 episodes, and I keep thinking he reminds me of someone, and I thought it's Pete Davey from NUFC Matters. Pete was absolutely over the moon with this comparison, which you can see why, which is great. Dazalad says Keegan or Hasty. I've never seen that photo of Kevin, and he looks more like you on there than he's ever looked.
Looks more like you than you. There
does.
He definitely does. This was from Chippers. Steve Hasty's fuming after Alan Clark's mistake on Sunday. Which was I don't know who on earth that bloke is. Like, this one was sent by Ian Edgar. Was good to bum Indy at the Metro Centre this week, mate. Rory Kinnear and Steve Wraith. Nah. Maybe it's the ears thing there, because my ears are quite prominent on that photograph. It might be, but Ian, thanks for that. You got getting into the spirit of it, which is the main thing. Steve Hasty sent us this one. And that's, what's he called? Andy
Serkis.
Yeah, no, he was in and Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, which is quite good. And he's in that program Finney. I finally got it. People think I was telling lies about this gangster program. It was on ITV, and he played one of the lead roles in it. But yeah, he's a good actor. And finally, this one again came from Steve Lee Clark and the lead singer of the band The Skids.
Yeah.
Very good. Excellent. Okay, so that rounds off our Two Lookalikes for 2021. Keep them coming in. We do like them, and we will have them on the next show. Okay, I will give a shout out to the sponsors before we finish. Spider VPN, big shout out to the lads at Spider VPN for all of your internet security. They are the boys to trust. Skipsandbins.com, telephone 0800 25 45 25 3, email inquiries at skipsandbins.com, website www.skipsandbins.com. Easy, contract free and pay as you go waste collection. Thanks also to L&G Family Funeral Directors 0191 389 7245. And the Garden of Healing Dispensary, CBD, hemp and cannabinoid specialists, www.thegohd.com. Thanks also to Arcot Interiors, Chris and the team down there, based on Heaton Road, for all your kitchen needs. Contact Arcot Interiors. And to John at QTech, qtechshop.co.uk, the makers of pool tables and snooker tables in Walls and Newcastle, and the man who runs NUFCmatters.com. Thanks also to Jab Signature. Good to see you yesterday, brother. jabsignature.co.uk. If you are a first-time visitor, please subscribe. Hit the Newcastle Legends logo in the bottom right-hand corner, and that is it. You can subscribe for free. Hit the thumb up to like the video. Click share to share to your social media, and drop it into the comments box to post a comment or to speak to like-minded Newcastle fans. We're also available as a podcast on iTunes, Spotify, and the rest. And last 10 minutes, chaps. Let's talk about the games coming up over the festive period, because obviously we're having a 1 week break ourselves. So first up, Manchester United, followed rather swiftly by Newcastle against Everton. Mitch, will come to you first. How do you see these two games going?
They can't be any worse than the last two or three. You'd hope. I know Man U got Ragnick in place now, but there's still fallibility there. And I think we've got to show the sort of levels of energy we showed in the first sort of 30 minutes or so of each game that we've then ultimately not done so well in. Because it'll come right, I think, if you apply yourself properly. I don't think there is a bigger task as, say, Liverpool or Man City. I think there's opportunity there with a full St James's Park and everybody prepared to get behind them. And then Everton are this season's Forrest Gump's box of chocolates. You just don't know what you're going to get out of it, do you? I think Rafa's been a little bit all over the place with them, and I think they've definitely got internal issues. There's still, Everton fans I know over in Dubai are not happy with Rafa. They want him out. They're not settled at all, and it's all a little bit of a, hey, Steve's off the good fellas, fantastic.
Have a good one, Steve.
The girls have got new uniforms. You'll enjoy yourself.
I'll see you next week.
I think what I'd love to see. My ideal scenario here would be 4 points out of those two games.
Okay, Steve.
Man United first. You've really got to get into Man United's face, and you've got to keep it tight, but you've got to be strong. You've got to face up to them. You can't let the likes of their defenders really sort of try and push you about, and I don't think that they'll get away with it. I think that Wilson will certainly be up for the battle. I think defensively, you've just got to be aware that how quick they can move, how quick they can break. And I'm sure Eddie Howe's going to have taken all that on board, because he's obviously watching the show and be listening to every word I say, and he'll be hanging on.
Be surprised.
But no, I mean, we all know that it's always a great game against Man United. It's always great when they come up, the fans get behind them. It's always an atmosphere, and it's one of those where our fans normally raise their game in terms of noise anyway. But the way the atmosphere has been at St James's Park over the last few weeks, it's been nothing short of phenomenal. The flag displays, the way that everybody's been behind the team, regardless of how the performance have ended up. And I think it's going to be another one of those. 8 o'clock, under the lights, excitement. And it is, I think, you're right, Mitch, of all the games, this is the one that we can do something, this is the opposition we can really get into the faces of and do something against. Because I think also as a professional footballers, they all want to beat Man United. They all want to have that Man United notch on their belt, don't they? They want to be able to say at the end of the career, oh yeah, I played in the team that turned Man United over. Everton, all over the place. You're just schizophrenic like you've never known. They can play decent football for patches, for stretches of a game, and then they just capitulate again. And Rafa's going through a really struggling time at the moment, isn't he? The loss of the striker and Calvert-Lewin was the big one, and the length of time he's been out must be worrying for Everton fans as well. the great set of lads at Everton, great set of fans. Know quite a few of them from the work that we do with the food bank. I wish them all the best for Christmas, and I know that they're going to be here. They're going to make a song and dance over anyone who visits them, in terms of welcoming them. If you're going down, visit the food bank, and visit their store, say hello, introduce yourself as a Newcastle fan, and you'll be more than welcome. But I know that they're desperate for the 3 points, and 3,000 back in Newcastle again, away from home, remarkable at Christmas holiday period. You've just got to play well. You've got to get stuck in. We've got a great result last season against Everton. There's no reason why we can't get it again today if the players' mindset's there, and we've got a full squad already how to choose from, and we get the tactics right.
Yeah, Stu, over to you, mate. Just your thoughts on these two games coming up over the festive period.
It's, I'll be quick because there's people looking for us outside. So I think we'll beat Man United 3-1. I know 3-1 is an obvious prediction for me, but I can see ASM turning good, scoring the first. Wilson will get a penalty, and Willock will come off the bench and score the third. That's what I think will happen, and then Everton away, 1s each. So there's Mitch's 4 points.
Fantastic. Well, there you go. That's a good. Well, yeah, he's off before the police come. Great predictions, and as always, we like to keep Julie happy. So here it goes, Julie. Okay, troll of the week is Mangagoon. Just said to me, number 1 bullshit guy.
Sounds like Hong Kong food, doesn't it?
I've never ever had that one before, and that's why he is for me this week the troll of the week. Okay, so we are going to finish, as I say, only 1 hour today. There is some going to be a live show of some sort over the Christmas period. I think me and Hoddy are going to do one, just a bit of a wrap-up from the Man United game, or a look ahead to the Man United game, or whatever, and the Everton game. So there will be something, but the rest of it's pre-recorded. We do all have a week off over Christmas. Any message for the people watching?
Thank you for all the support and kind words. It's crazy. I still can't get my head around how over the time we've been doing this, everybody's reactions and everybody's kindness towards it, and it's humbling, really humbling. And for me, it keeps me grounded and close to home, even though I'm 4,500 miles away usually.
Steve?
It's been a pleasure to meet some great people through doing this show. Made some really great friends. Some of the events that we've been to where people have turned up, the people who've come to the food bank and introduced themselves, and there's quite a family we know on NUFC Matters now, and I'm just proud to be part of it, and delighted to be part of it, and proud to be part of it. So Merry Christmas everybody, and as I say, chin up, thanks for your support, and roll on 2022.
And Stu?
Just to reiterate what the lads have just said there, it's great being part of this community. You've created loads of new friends. People that I didn't know recognised us when I was at the football on Sunday.
Someone recognised you at the Strawberries.
Yes, they did. No, but it's nice that we're all able to get together, and we are just 4 normal lads here just talking about football, and it's great that people watch it, and it's nice that they do, and we're appreciative of the fact that people watch. I just want to wish everyone a very Merry Christmas, and I look forward to a fantastic New Year for Newcastle United and beyond.
Yeah, that's all for the live folks today. Thank you very much for all your best wishes and all the comments in the chat. I hope you all have a great Christmas, and we look forward to seeing you in the new year. We're off to have a few socials. I hope you all have a great Christmas with your family, and take care. See you soon.
Merry Christmas.
Cheers.
Attack. It feels like I've been talking to myself again, but it's easy.